Okay everyone, welcome back to another video. It is still 7/30, the day in the month, or the month of the day, and we are going to probably post this video on, I believe it would be the 2nd of August, if I'm going in order here. Actually, I think it would be the 1st. But this is just another logic concepts video. So the last one would be simple logic concepts, and this would be advanced logic concepts, because this uses some more advanced stuff, which it's a little bit harder to do. Now, let's say, you can find another way to do this, which is a little bit harder, and it won't. This is just the easiest and smartest way to do this, I would say. So you can make as many letters as you'd want. You could make it all the way to like Z if you wanted to. You could add all 10 other digits in there if you wanted. But you have got to have enough signals for this. You have got to have enough combinations. So if you want 36 letters and also numbers, if you wanted 36 total, you would need 36 total combinations, because I have got the combinations for A, which A, if I turn this off, it'll tell me like, okay, so A, this torch is now back on, so A will activate 001, which, I believe this is binary, if I'm not wrong, and then if I turn this off, it'll stop activating 001, and then for B will activate this guy right here, which I believe is 010. Yep. And then if I activate C, it will activate 100. And then if I activate D, it will activate 100. Now I actually just messed up when looking at C, because C activates 2. It has 2 signals going out, which is also a very helpful build when you're trying to encode or decode stuff and all that. But it has 2 signals, 100 and 010. And if I can just turn this off again. And this is what we would call an encoder, which of course we can do the opposite of this and still call it an encoder and call this a decoder. But we don't really need to do that. We can just leave it up to what it is. And of course it doesn't have to be called A, B, C, and D, or 010, 100, and 001, but that's just what I have it called. So here's the decoder. Now, 001, let's just say I want A. So I will turn this on. This will give me A. Then let's just say 010, that's B, right? If you were watching when I did the other part. And then 100 is D, and then 100 and 010 is C. But if you input the wrong code, like this, it will give you the incorrect letter, because this is not even a code that exists. So the reason that it's giving out the output of this and nothing else is because all of these other ones are activated right now, which is because of the repeaters. So this guy is activating this guy and this guy and this guy, which prevents them from being activated, but this guy's not being prevented. So like if I do this, then it will stop doing all of that. But then I also can't send a signal to A itself at all. But if I were to for example, do this, and then I were to do this and get this lever here, and I were to put this away and do this, now if I turn this on, I believe that it won't, yeah, it stops sending a signal out. But there's a couple of things you've got to troubleshoot here for this. Now it will also not send out a signal if you got it like this, but you just want to have this redstone set up like this. Now this is a decoder. Whenever I put in a signal that is correspondent to one of the letters over here, you gotta make it exactly equal to this. You use the redstone torches and this works just fine, but you've got to make sure it's equal, and you've got to make sure that one of these is powering this so that it doesn't get like that, so that it doesn't send out the wrong signal like this. You've got to make sure that all of them are kept in check by something. But this is an encoder and a decoder, and we also go ahead and we go to this really, it's not that complex, but it's a little bit complex. Also, I'll give you guys a better view on how to make an encoder and a decoder real quick, just to make sure that you guys understand how to do it, and so that you can do it yourselves. But here we go. We've got all of these. It is some pretty simple builds, but then we go over here and we see RAM and ROM. Now RAM, you can clear this. It's like turning off a computer. Your computer has RAM. So whenever you turn off your computer just deletes all of the RAM that you put in. Now, this is A, B, C, and D, and then it will send out A, B, C, or D. So it is basically an encoder and a decoder all in one. You send in the encoded A, B, C, and D, and then it decodes it at the end and turns it back into A, B, C, or D. Now, if I were to be like, I want A, and I were to write out, oh, I've got to click on write, and I've got to click on read, it will tell me, alright, you just put an A, and then I can clear this, and then it will get rid of the written signal. But if I were to put in A, B, C, and D, oh, forgot I had to write it again. We can write this, and then we can read this, and it will send out all these signals. But then I'll just clear this real quick, and I'll do like these two, and this is B and D. I will write it if I can click the button correctly, and then we've got B and D. So it works perfectly for what it's intended for. It is also helpful to send messages that nobody will know about. But what you've got to do for that is you've got to like give a string of numbers that tells them which letter to look at first. Like A, of course, would be 1, B is 2, C is 3, and D is 4. Something like that. You would also send an encoding of numbers or something. I don't really know how I'd make that work, but you know, you could use a display. But here is a ROM, which is unable to be cleared, and it's just a RAM, but you put in something and it sends the signal out for the, you could also label this like this would be A, B, E, stuff like that, but I don't have it set up like that. You should also have a, I believe it would be a NOR gate, or yeah, no, it would be a NOT gate. You should also have a NOT gate before the lever goes into here, but of course I just didn't have the space to do that, and I didn't want to redo this, even though it's such a small amount. So I just keep these off, or on, normally, and it works just fine. This is a ROM. I'll give you guys a better view on it, just like I'll do for the RAM in a second here. And of course you can just extend this signal by 1, and I'll let you put, stuff for the 5th one as well. I just forgot to do that though. So this specific ROM setup will give you 5 lines of ROM to work with. So then we have another variant of ROM, which is a lot more like RAM, but I use it over here in this giant monstrosity of a redstone contraption. But this is the ROM that we saw all the way down here. I can turn on this and it'll send out my signals, which are the same as the one that I turned on down there, which was a coincidence. But it will not send out my signal quite yet. I won't be able to get my signal out. But then if I write this, this is not going to turn off my signal like the encoders and decoders will after a second. This will make sure that I know which signal I just put out there. So that's very helpful. You would, I believe, put another repeater right here, and then you do your redstone stuff. But this shows me our, what I'll just call A, B, C, D, E. And it shows us our our stuff right here. So I believe actually this would not have worked if I used that letter. So I messed that up a little bit, but it's fine now. But the way that this works is also, since it remembers it, I can turn this off and it will still give me A, B, and E. But whenever I click on clear, it will then get rid of that. And now that's gone, and oh, never mind. But this is very simple. I'm a little confused. Where's this redstone going? I don't know. Okay, so this redstone's going up to here. So it turns this on, which then turns this off, and there's redstone on top of this. Okay. So if I'm not wrong, this is just like completely useless signaling. Because then whenever I turn this guy off, it'll then turn this block off as well, and then the redstone will also turn off, and so there's just no reason to have this, I guess. If there is, then I'm messing up a little bit, but we'll see. I have to troubleshoot this to make sure that I'm not giving you guys a incorrect tutorial here. So we click on right. Yep, it still works, so that was unnecessary, but if we look here, we have got the right signals, which you don't have to have this extended, I just wanted it to look better. So you can just look here, you can get your inspiration, you can copy this build, I don't really care. Just use it to whatever you want to use it for. But we can see here all of this. I'm just going to give you guys a good view so that you can copy it down if you would like. And of course I already gave you a good view on the ROM, so I don't think that you're going to need a very good view on that ROM, but I'll also give you guys a little side view. Make sure the comparators are set to negative, and just set this up the way that you would like to, and this should be a perfectly fine build for you whenever you're trying to do something in specific. But also, this has very like specific uses. So like this is memory. This is permanent memory. You can change it, of course, by going in there by yourself. But it is it's permanent memory, unlike RAM, which is supposed to be cleared. You are supposed to clear this RAM. You're supposed to read it, but ROM is always read whenever you write it. So that's the difference between ROM and RAM. But you can use this ROM for whatever. It will give you a signal whenever you have a specific memory block chosen, and you can set this up with more stuff in specific lines and all of that, and you can do something like this, which I know it's horrible to look at. I probably should start using different colors in my builds, but I haven't really gotten to that yet. But this works perfectly fine. You don't have to change the colors or anything. But this pillar is useless as well. I just had this here for the world edit mod, which is actually very, very helpful. But if you want to use this, go right ahead. It is basically a universal way to do ROM, RAM, encoders, decoders. It's like essentially the best way to do it, but thanks. Alright, so this is me just a little bit later because I had to cut like 20 seconds off of the main video. But this is just like the ending, I suppose, to this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And it's great to have people watching Redstone Explained, this series here. Or Redstone Simplified, not Redstone Explained. I mean, like, it is explained, but it's simplified. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.